Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new here. I'm Nathalie Minnick. I'm a mom of 2 toddler boys. I share lots of cleaning motivation videos on here and everything else in everyday life. I'm so happy you're here and let's get started. In today's video, I am going to be cleaning out our spice cabinet. We have so much stuff in this cabinet. It's falling out pretty much. So we have spices in here, we have tea in here, we have baking stuff in here, it's like our catch-all cabinet for stuff. So I'm going to be going through this. I am just getting the counter cleaned off, wiped off, just so I can have a clean surface to put everything on it. And then after this, I am going to be doing a product review, and I'll explain more of that later. And then I'm going to be making my homemade meatballs. And they have veggies in them and they are kid approved. So stay tuned for all that. But right now I am going to get started on this cabinet. Usually I work from top to bottom, but I think I just was really overwhelmed with this cabinet and wasn't really sure what to do. So I just started pulling out all our spices on the bottom here, and I'm going to go through them. Again, there's spices in here that were probably 7 years old, 8 years old. So I'm just going to go through, get rid of all of those. I do have some spices that are expired that I still use, so oh well. But most of them that are over, I think I kept anything that was 2 years old. And then got rid of everything else. But yeah, so it wasn't too much. I feel like we do use our spices pretty regularly, but there's that occasional spice like pumpkin pie spice that I use probably one time. So stuff like that is the spices that I'm going to get rid of. So I heard once that if you smell the spice and you don't really smell like that fragrance in it, then the spice isn't going to really do what it's supposed to do, give for the flavoring. So I am smelling some of them just because, they might be 3 years old, but they were ones that I feel like you need that for like a scent and the taste of it. Like rosemary, I feel like is a big one where, if it's not fresh, you're not really going to get that flavor. So there is some that I definitely just threw out if I didn't smell that strong smell of it. Now that I went through all the spices, I'm just going to go through and wipe off the spice rack and the shelf. Again, I usually like working top to bottom because now that I did the bottom shelf first and I wiped down the top and middle shelf, I'm going to possibly get a little bit of stuff onto that shelf. It's not, big deal. I'll put my hand there to catch things, but that is why I like to start from top to bottom. So we have these little packets of flavoring and spices from a meal delivery service we had. And I don't know why we have so many extra spice packets, because I feel like they only give you enough to make the meal. But I don't know. I don't know if we didn't make the meal or we just thought it was too much spice, or I don't know. But we ended up having like 4 or 5 extra of these packets, and we haven't done these meal services for 2 years, or maybe a year and a half now, 2 years. So I don't know why we have these packets and why there's extra, but I think we have like a fry seasoning that was really good. So I am keeping them for when we make fries and burgers and stuff in the summer. I was always going back and forth between a spinning spice rack and one of those shelf spice racks. And I ended up going with the spinning one. I just felt like it was easier trying to get the spices off from instead of like the shelf and having the back shelf of it and having taller spice bottles, and then it might not fitting on the back row because it's taller and whatever. So I ended up going for the spinning spice rack, and I feel like it works out. I mean, I really like it. I prefer it over the shelf one. And what I do is I take the spices that I don't use as frequent, I put them in the middle, and then everything that I use like almost daily, I put around the outside of the circle. Oh gosh, now the middle shelf. Oh goodness. So I have everything crammed into this shelf. I have the sugar, the gravy packets, the taco stuff, the tea, the extra, like I buy bulk salt and garlic powder and stuff like that. I have that all crammed in here. I have straws, and I have no idea, but somehow I have all this stuff crammed on the shelf, and then I end up not even using, and there's some falling, I end up not even using all that stuff because it's such a pain to get to. So I'm glad I'm going through this because I can finally make tea again and all that. So yeah, this shelf's pretty bad. And I figured while I'm cleaning this, I will stop and just fill everything up. This is what inspired me to clean this cabinet, was because I was looking for my refill bottle to fill up our pepper. So I finally had, my husband had the kids and they were at the park. So I finally took a minute and decided to do this cabinet because I needed to fill pepper, and why not just clean a whole cabinet when you need to fill pepper up? So that is why I'm cleaning this cabinet. Finally got the pepper filled, and I'm going to fill up other spices too while I find the bulk spice bins for them. So in the summer, I loved iced tea. So like I'll make black tea or berry tea, or Starbucks has this passion, I think it's called passion fruit tea. Anyway, so I found that in the store. And anyway, so I'm so big on making tea for the summertime, and I'm just going through all my tea now and getting excited for summer to be here so I can start making that again. I'm just amazed at how much stuff I crammed in to this little cabinet. I am pretty impressed by it. Anyway, so now I'm just going to wipe it out. I'm going to get this all cleaned up and I'm going to start getting everything put back in there. I kind of like the way the idea of how I had it, like where the tea was on the right and then I had refill spice bottles on the left there. So I did like having like that that weird placement of it, I guess. So I'm gonna keep that, just obviously organize and make it look nicer and more organized in there. So I was trying to figure out how to organize these tea boxes. So unfortunately, most of these tea boxes don't have that paper little envelope that the tea bag sits in. So I wasn't able to really put them in a separate container and make it a little more organized, because otherwise I wouldn't know what tea was in there because they were just all floating in like a wax type bag. So I unfortunately have to keep the teas in their boxes. So I was just playing like Jenga there, trying to figure out how to organize that all. So that kind of stinks that I had to keep them in boxes, but I think I got it figured out there, and now I'm just going to work on getting the spices in there. So that's the middle shelf. I did get rid of a few things, but otherwise it's nice and organized. I have tea on one side, the refills for spices on the left side, and then in front I have like our gravy packets and the ranch bulk bottle and the sugar and stuff. So I have that all nice and organized. It's easy to access now and pull out instead of everything falling on you. My top shelf is mostly baking stuff, so different sprinkles and cookie cutters, and I found caramel syrup up there. So I just have a bunch of stuff for baking. My top shelf, candles, extra straws. vanilla extract, all that stuff I have on the top shelf just because I don't need that very often. So I just kept that all up there. My husband and kids just got back from the park, so now it's kind of crunch time to get this done because their little hands are going to be all over it and want to look at everything. So I'm going to try to wrap this cabinet up. As you can see here, my son is finding sprinkles and everything. So I'm just going to try to get this stuff figured out and put away fast so his little hands aren't everywhere. I have this container that I'm going through right now. I call it my baking container. So I have to get a bigger container, but originally I had sprinkles, candles, food coloring, all the stuff that you need for baking. I kind of had in there for decorating, for when you're baking. I have all that stuff in there. But then once I had kids, themed birthday cakes and different colors and Christmas cookies and holiday cookies and all that, I ended up buying more sprinkles, more different colors and shapes and whatever. So that kind of overflowed, and that's what's on the shelf now. So, but I do like the idea of having a baking container, even if you keep that on the top shelf, just so when you are decorating for any occasion, you are able to just pull that bin down and you have everything right there. So that's on the to-do list of finding a new container for up there. But right now that will do. So, but yeah, that's where I have all my baking stuff. And like I said, it's easy to just pull down the container when you're ready to decorate. And there you have it, nice and organized now. I feel like I can find everything. Nothing's falling on me. So it's nice to have everything have a home again. And these are the things that I am getting rid of. I'm so excited. I just got this delivery in. It's from Brvtot. They reached out to me and they asked if I would do an advertisement in exchange for a free plate. So I said, of course, let me give this thing a try. My toddler loves to throw his plates. So I said, hey, I'll give anything a try if they say their suction on their plates are amazing. So I did. I've had this plate for almost 2 weeks now because I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion. I'm not going to ever advertise anything on here if it's not, something I would definitely use or definitely back up. So I want to test this out. It's been about a week and a half, 2 weeks now that I had this plate. And guys, it's amazing. The suction on this is incredible. It is microwave safe. I personally haven't put it in the microwave yet, but it is dishwasher safe. I have put it in the dishwasher. And you can just see here, my son's trying to lift it up and he can't lift it up. It's amazing. So definitely check them out. They are on Amazon and is definitely worth it. Now I am going to be making my meatballs. I add a lot of veggies to my meatballs just because my kids don't eat veggies. So I just found this gadget. It is a tumbler shredder. And then I just don't have to shred all my veggies and stuff by hand. So I just purchased this. This is the first time I'm using it, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm going to be making 3 pounds worth, so a triple batch of meatballs. I just like to make a bunch at once if I'm doing it. It's a lot of work putting into it, especially with doing all the vegetables. So I try to make a big batch at once. So first I'm getting the veggies ready. This took me a 2-day process just because I'm watching the kids and trying to get all this done while watching the kids. So I'm going to peel the carrots. I'm doing a carrot per pound of meat. And then I'm going to take some broccoli and some spinach and get this all shredded, peeled, washed, all that. I'm going to get this all ready so I can have this mixture all set for when I start assembling the stuff for the meatballs. So it is the first time I am using this shredder, so I'm just trying to figure out how to get it to really stay on and what's the easiest way to do this. So the hole is big enough to have all 3 of the carrots in there, and once I had the suction really on our counter right, I was able to do this really fast. So it is shredding our carrots really fast, and now I'm going to do the broccoli. The broccoli worked pretty good, and then you'll see I tried doing the spinach in there, and that was a no-go. So I chopped all the spinach by hand. I didn't think this was going to work at all, but I was curious, so I just wanted to try the spinach. But yeah, the spinach definitely didn't work, so I am going to chop the spinach by hand. I did about 2 to 3 handfuls of spinach, and here you can see just everything on there. I'm just going to shake all that off, get all that stuff off. But for the spinach, I did about 2 or 3, probably 2 handfuls of spinach for the meatballs. Now that I have all the veggies shredded, chopped up, I'm just going to mix that all up. And I am going to put this in the fridge, so when I did it the next day, this was at least all ready. This was pretty time consuming, so at least this part was done, and I am able to just add this to the mixture for the meatballs. Now I'm getting the stuff ready for meatballs. So for onions, I like to cut off the one end of it. I cut it in half, and then I keep the end with the frilly stuff on it. I keep that end, and then I just take off the top layer and I cut into the onion, but not all the way for it to hit the, like, go all the way through. Because if you hit all the way through to like where that frilly stuff is on the onion, that's what makes you cry. So I like to cut into it, but just not all the way. You can kind of see there. And then I go the other way, this way, and then you have finally chopped onions. And then you're not crying if you don't hit into, I don't know what that's called, the eye of the onion or whatever that is. But usually I don't end up crying when I chop an onion this way. Because I am doing a batch of 3, I am measuring out just to make sure I have enough. I end up usually skimping out if I don't measure. So I am just going to measure out. I'm doing about half a cup of onion per pound of meat. So I did measure out a cup and a half of meat. And then here I'm just doing 3 tablespoons of garlic. It's definitely better if you have fresh garlic. But I just had the already chopped up garlic in my fridge, so I use that. And then I do an egg per pound of meat. So I did 3 pounds of, or sorry, not 3 pounds of eggs, 3 eggs, because I have 3 pounds of meat. So I did 3 eggs. And then I'm doing 3 tablespoons of ketchup per pound of meat. So 9 tablespoons of ketchup total. So, and this really helps give the meatballs moisture, and it really helps, not dry out a turkey meatball with the ketchup. And next is Parm cheese. Of course, I ran out of Parm cheese. I didn't realize. So usually I do about, half a cup per pound of meat. So a cup and a half. Of course, I didn't even have a full cup. So I did have some fresh Parm cheese, and actually it tasted really good. I'm going to be doing this from now on. I'm going to lessen the amount of sprinkled cheese that I put in and put fresh Parm cheese in, because that actually tasted really good. And then I'm adding some salt. I think I did like a teaspoon per pound, I believe, or half a teaspoon per pound. Salt, pepper. I'm going to be adding Italian seasoning, probably a couple tablespoons of that, some parsley, a lot of parsley, and then some garlic powder, onion powder, and I think that was it. I think that's all I added. I think I might have added a little basil too. Oh, and I forgot breadcrumbs. I do about a 1/4 cup per pound of breadcrumbs as well. So, and then I think I added a little bit more at the end. So I like mixing everything up before I add the meat. So I got all that mixed up, all the spices, the eggs, the breadcrumbs. I got all that mixed up. Now I'm adding in the vegetables. So I'm going to get this all mixed up and have a little bit of a coating on everything. And now I'm going to add the meat in here and get that all mixed in. If you guys really like the recipe, or it sounds good to you and you guys want the recipe, please reach out, leave me a comment, and I will definitely send you the recipe for the meatballs if you guys are interested. So with it being 3 pounds of meat, it's kind of impossible to not put your hands in there and really give it a good mix. So I got that all mixed up. I am just lining my baking sheets with some tin foil. I'm spraying them with some olive oil on here. I have the oven set to 400, and I am going to be cooking these for between 15 to 20 minutes. So I have this little cookie scooper, and I am just going to be making my meatballs now. This has been the easiest way to sneak in veggies with my kids. My son started picking up on the little green specks in my meatballs, which are the spinach or parsley, but he still usually, for the most part, will eat them. My other one, it just devours these. He'll eat like 4 or 5 of these meatballs at once. So they definitely are kid approved. I'm so happy that they'll eat these, especially with some sauce and pasta. You know, I can't go wrong with these. So they are kid approved, thank goodness, because I have no way to get veggies and no other way to get veggies into my kids. I feel like they are so picky at eating vegetables.
We go higher to the sky, reaching up, but I can't fly. You said you'd follow me anywhere, but I can't see you, you don't even care. I wanted more.
And here you guys have it. You guys can see me pulling them out of the oven. I forgot to film the first batch that I took out. But here you go. Here are the meatballs coming out of the oven. The kids love them. They were eating them already off of the cookie sheet. And that's it for the video today. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. And if you guys haven't already, please subscribe to my channel and hit that like button. Have a great day.